Hello everybody and welcome to episode number 14 of Improve with Apollo. Thank you very much for liking my previous video, and for all of you that watched it and subscribed, thank you as well. If you haven't actually subscribed to my YouTube channel, I definitely recommend it because I have a lot of content coming your way as of these recent few days. I'm going to be trying to do as much as I can, so you don't want to miss any of it, hopefully. Coming to today though, in episode number 14, we're going to be looking at a Diamond League Terran player. I've changed a couple of things around with the format and how I'm going to be doing this show, so I definitely think you're going to enjoy this one. There's a lot of good information, a lot of juicy information for you Terran players at all levels to learn from today. And the guy we're learning from is actually a 16-year-old from Sweden who goes by the name of Marcus. Marcus, are you getting excited? Because this is your day, this is going to be your replay, and let's take a look at your email that you sent in. So thank you for sending the email in, first of all, and thank you for wanting to take part, and I hope that I can help you out as much as I can. So Marcus from Sweden, 16-year-old Diamond Terran is mentioned. Hello, Apollo and viewers, hopefully. Yes, you're in. You're on, Marcus. My worst matchup is currently Terran versus Zerg. I just don't know what to do and when to do it. I don't know when to be aggressive, when to expand, and when and where to drop. When to micro, macro, and especially how to deal with defensive Zerg players. Kind of feels like a lot of things that you don't know how to do. So I'm going to go into this very openly minded and try to help you out as best as I can. Going back into the email. In the game I'm sending you, I started off with 2 factory Blue Flame Hellion because I don't really know what to do. It got blocked completely, and I barely killed any drones at all. But I feel that's not the reason why I lost. Okay, so I'll be definitely looking out for this. I transitioned into Biomarine Hellbat. I failed to deny creep spread because I don't know how, and it just went downhill from there. Okay, so a lot of things to already consider going into this, but the first thing is that I'm going to be, what I want to do with you today, Marcus, is slowly walk through your game and look for small mistakes that will help iron out your play, like help you iron out. Because at Diamond level, approaching Masters, hopefully, it's kind of a lot more of small things. Compared to the previous episode, there was a big amount of, scouting for the Zerg player and so on. But now it's going to be trying to refine the smaller things that you need to change. And hopefully I can pick them out so that you can get into Master League as fast as possible. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into your game and have a look at where I can help you. So we're already 30 seconds in here. And the first thing, I've actually... hold this. Come back here. I actually got a lot of notes for you, Marcus, today. A lot of stuff for you to work on. I'm going to write this up in email form afterwards and send it to you as well. And there's quite a bit of stuff for you to look at. So the first thing I actually noted down was you build your supply depot at 10, which is fine. But I don't really agree with... It's not so much a disagreement. I mean, in my tutorials and other stuff, I've always said that it's really smart to go scout really early on, as fast as you can, so you can get information. But at your level in Diamond League, I don't think it's necessary. I'd much rather be a little bit greedier and then go ahead and get an earlier barracks, earlier command center, because that SCV that's now gone scouting is not mining, and you're technically losing money because you're not really benefiting from that early scout as much as you would do in the lower leagues where anything is possible. And at Diamond League, it's small things like this that can make a difference. You build your barracks here, so even if he wants to 6-pull you, the ultimate extreme of aggression, you're already going to be fine. You build a supply depot, you're fine. So what are you really looking for when you send out this SCV? What are you looking to see if he has an early pull? Are you looking for his gas timings? Because you're not going to really get in there. I mean, is he going to be having gas at 2 minutes 15 by the time you get in there? Most of the time, no. Sometimes, yes. But that could even be a fake. It could be to trick with you and play with your own mind. So I'd much rather scout after the barracks is completed or after you've thrown the command center down, because you can get in there. Basically, if we just pause it again, I know I'm going through all the small things, but I think this is quite important. A Zerg player is 9 to 10 times out of 10 going to be going hatchery first. So you've got a long window of opportunity to get that SCV in there before the queen pops out, which is the usual scouting denying. So I definitely think that you have a much larger opportunity to get in there later on instead of now. Because you go in, you see a gas, but is it real? Is he playing with you? Is he not? You're going to have to take it for real information, so you're going to have to react. And I just think that, easier to save money. So the drone scout comes in, and the second point I've got down here, Marcus, is that you actually opt to throw down a supply depot really early on here, which is a big mistake. Because not only did you scout excuse me, just adjust my position in my chair. Not only did you scout really early on, which was a little bit of a waste of money, you built a supply depot. What is this for? You know, what's the reasoning for adding this supply depot on? He's already gone in and seen you haven't taken gas. No Terran builds are really going to be going for... No Terran players are really going to go for, you know, 3 barracks for an SCV Marine all in. It's, you know, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be going for a command center. And then on top of things, where's the Zerg Overlord always going to be? Ta-da! So this guy over here is, you know, going to scout your command center anyway. And you end up delaying your command center,
Upgrade.
you know, by about 25 seconds. 1 barracks command center without a very early scout. The command center can come down on 3 minutes and 10 seconds. In this game, it was like 3 minutes 35 because of this. And then if his Overlord was in position, which it should be, which it's not, he'd see it anyway. So you could have just been a bit sharper on that, I think, more than anything. Because you had scouted his gas, you are going to need to get a bunker quite fast in this game. Because the 2 things that can happen... So as a player, as a Terran player, you've picked up information here. You've figured out that he's got gas. What does that now mean? So from this gas, it now branches in different ways, right? It's either going to be Speedlings early on, Baneling Bust, or Roach Play. Every single one of them requires a bunker. So you're going to have to build a bunker, and the position for the bunker should always be around here. I suggest here, a bit further back. It's easier for your SCVs to be pulled and repair. The bunker placement you go for isn't the best, because it's a little bit too far out in the open. I don't like the bunker to be a part of the wall, because if a Baneling Bust comes in, if it hits this, you've got no bunker to protect you. If it hits a supply depot wall, then you still have a bunker behind. And if it is a very early Baneling Bust, then he won't have that high of a Baneling count. Therefore, if the bunker's not a part of the wall, it could still survive. And then obviously, with the reaction of pulling SCVs, you may be able to defend. This was a clear mistake, salvaging. I'm just going to not even look at that, because I know it was a mistake. Your build, it was double gas, right? So you go on 1 barracks command center, double gas. You're missing a factory and a reactor by 25 gas. This is of course a mistake. I do realize that in your email that you said you wanted to go 2 factory Blue Flame. You don't build the 2 factories at the same time, so you don't save up gas, because why would you do that when you can already have Hellions pressuring at the start, slowing him down a little bit, and it just looks like normal play. There's no need to save up gas or anything, so I think this is a bit of a mistake. Of course, you should have had a reactor down and a factory down already as soon as you get 150 gas, and I can show you that point. I guess it's around 5 minutes, or here's good. So as soon as you have 150 gas here, you lift the barracks, you build a reactor in this green box, and then you place the factory next to it, and you already have your build. And then very shortly, what that'll do, if you look at your resources, after an orbital's gone down, that's 150. This now takes you, math on screen, to 350. Another 150 for this puts you down to 200. And then with the reactor, it's a little bit more. And then after that, your command center comes down. Or if you're going to play Blue Flame, your second factory comes in, which you decide to do. So just a bit of a mistake, as you can see here. We actually see your factories coming down rather late. Quite late. And then the double factories come down with the reactor. So just a little bit late. It enables him to get closer towards roaches, closer towards additional queens, and so on and so on and so on. Alright, so the next point I wanted to bring up was nothing. Nothing yet. So let's just continue to look through and what you decide to do next. Your command center obviously is going to be coming down very shortly here. With a Blue Flame opening, okay, that's what I wanted to talk about. Blue Flame openings are not the best. It's not the best build. It's a viable build, which we do see quite often, but it's not a go-to build. And in your email, you do describe that you don't really know how to play, which is why you went for this. So at the end, I'm going to help you with a build and help you tighten things up. But for now, I'll obviously judge what happens in this game and look at the mistakes here. But Blue Flame Hellions is not the best build because you have to do damage, right? You have to get in there, and you need to kill at least 10 drones or something. Yeah, I'd say at least 10 drones before it's worth it, because you delay your engineering base, you delay STIM, and so on and so on. And talking about STIM, you actually should have started your tech lab already. Like, there's no reason not to, right? Even with the command center coming down, you have 85 minerals and 325 gas. This is absolutely a tech lab at this point. because the faster stim you have, the easier it is for you to move out after Blue Flame Hellions. Because you want to be denying creep, and just even if you were to go for a Blue Flame Hellion and Marine attack, a secondary attack or something along those lines. I think that your engineering bays are a little bit late in this game as well. If we just rewind for a minute here. You want to be getting the engineering bays down pretty much as soon as your command center's down. So your command center comes down now. Granted, you're going to have to get Blue Flame. So let's just say about 720. With Blue Flame, it's 150 minerals. You are going to have to be building a few Hellions, so it's not right at this point, but shortly after, you can absolutely squeeze in double engineering bay around the 7-minute 30 mark. The faster your upgrades come down, the stronger you're going to be against the Zerg player, and you actually you get rid of the weakness of your build, which is lack of early upgrades, because you've decided to go 2 factories instead of 1. You decide to get 150 into Blue Flame as well. So if you get them a little bit down faster, a little bit sharper, it just improves the tightness of your build. And so far, there's not really that many big mistakes in your game, you know, up to the 7-minute 30 mark. It's just tightening your build so far, and we'll see where that takes us. All right, so once again, we're back into this, and the next thing that I've got written down here is, of course, aside from your engineering bays, which do come down eventually, just a little bit later than they should be, is when do you add on extra barracks? I mentioned the tech lab is quite late here in this scenario. You did just this second pick up a scout of this third base, which doesn't really mean too much. You saw there was no drones there, which, well, I'll show the audience that are trying to learn from what you're learning as well. You saw there's no drones there, so it doesn't really mean that much. It means that he's on 2 base, quite defensive, just now taking a third after. Don't really know what he's doing from this point, but you know he hasn't saturated it very early, which means it wasn't an early third base. So you can probably guess that this hatchery came down, or was put down around the 6-minute mark, finishing up at 7:30 is there now. But nothing too much to read into that for now, but that's fine, Scout. And your goal right now is to hit with these Hellions. It has to be, because that's your strategy in this game. The next point I wanted to bring up, apart from as mentioned the late tech lab, where the late stim is when do you add on your barracks? When do you add on your production? Can you answer that right now? No, because you're not here. More importantly, I'll answer it, because it should be as you move out with these Hellions. You get another command center, orbital command, sorry, and as you move out with these Hellions, which is now, look at your minerals, because you stop making Hellions. 400. And what you want to be adding on is 1, 2, 3, 4 barracks. Look at your minerals, 500-ish. You can definitely add on 4 barracks. Total barracks, 5, as you're moving out. Again, just tightening up your build a little bit, because if you don't add on the barracks now, it's going to be very difficult to actually take your third, because you will lose these Hellions. At one point, right, even if you do damage, these Hellions are going to die. If the Hellions die, what do you have at home? And if we look in, what do you have after the Hellions? 4 Marines, another Hellion. How do you take your third? So you have to be sure to get these down. And a quick tip-in, which I think you do throw them down now. So just could have been a bit faster, like 15, 20, 30 seconds faster. And it should have been another one as well. As you can see, 300 minerals. You've got to keep the minerals low. So another one would be great. What I would have done, and it's a tip for you, because you don't need to use these factories anymore, unless you continue to be the Hellions and you have a follow-up attack with Stim and something. What keeps your money low, Marcus, is pick up this factory, place it down here, build a reactor, right, as you're adding on these barracks, and then, as this factory is lifted, build another barracks here. And what that enables you to do is, because the time to build a reactor from this factory is the same time as a barracks, you actually get 2 reactors that you can produce Marines from almost instantly as soon as the barracks are done. Compared to what happens in this game, is if we just forget about the Hellions for now, is what happens with these barracks. They come down, right? And then you have to add reactors. Look at your minerals going down. And then you've got these down, and the reactors come on, and another tech lab, and money goes skyrocketing high. And you can actually eliminate that by very simply doing as mentioned, just get reactors down a little bit earlier on, and another barracks too. This should be definitely, I was going to say pumping out units, but more specifically building Marauders, actually. And the reason for building Marauders at this point is because with Hellions, and you're obviously going to display your Hellions, which you're doing here, and I'll look at this closer now. What's the follow-up from a Zerg player that sees Hellions? roaches. So you build marauders, just a couple, just in case he counterattacks, and you don't have any marauders and you could die. So as you're moving out here, slow it down for a second. As you move out here, this is fine to do so. Maybe some small adjustment. You could move out with 4 instead of all of them and follow by a couple of inches behind the rest of them. You're looking to do damage. And like I said, minimum of 10. This is a little bit difficult of a map to get in because in your choke area, it's kind of small, like that green box compared to a lot of other maps. And most Zerg players are always going to have this double evolution chamber wall off, right? So that's something to think about. You get in, and then you decide to come out with another queen coming down. Or you do get in, but you don't. I'm not too sure. For me, pulling out here is risky because you don't know if he's got drones over here. He could have a few. He couldn't have that many. I'm not sure if going for it would have been worth it, but either way, is that you do make use of the Hellions a little bit. You do get a few drones, not as many as you would have hoped for. And already, I feel you're a little bit behind in this game because you need to be killing more than like 3 or 7. But that's because of your build, and not because you couldn't do more. It's not your fault you couldn't do more. It's your build, and it's your build. We'll talk about that a little bit more after. Behind this, though, is going back to my previous point, is 1,200 minerals have now banked up. The addition of another barracks, another reactor would have helped out. Also, your starport is really, really late. Starport should have been added on shortly after these barracks have come down. Also, the armory should have been added on. So all these things need to be coming together. So you need to be adding on more barracks. The starport should be down. The armory should be down. Your command center should be lifting up and going across. But the problem is that because you didn't have units building from this barracks as well as the barracks built on here, you don't really have any units left, and it all could have been faster. Remember that too. So you could have had a strong force of units. Looking at my notes again here for you, Marcus, is the next thing that I think you should be doing is because of the lack of success that you got from the Hellions. You don't know about this spy that's been built, as we see in the production tab. You need to know what the follow-up is. Because even with double evolution chambers, that's the only thing you've seen. You didn't even see roaches yet. You don't know if it is... Because when you went there, the Ling upgrades weren't done. So you don't really know... Oopsie daisy, sorry. You don't know exactly what's going on. So I would scan in the main. You've gone on the natural, you've seen double evolution chamber. I'd scan the main around this time. Because now you've got no information. What do you need to be getting ready for? Are you going to be building marauders from both tech labs if it's roaches and hydras? Are you going to be starting to get ready for turrets? And so on. So if you scan the main around this time, you would have picked up the Spire Scout. Therefore, you could have already started to mentally prepare to deal with this. All right. From here on out, you are a little bit behind, as mentioned. Your production's late and your money's high. Starport is very late as well, so a lot of build order mistakes here. And you're very late to take your third base with no protection whatsoever. A couple of links really puts this down. You started using Widow Mines, which is probably the reason why you didn't do as suggested with the factory and barracks. Which is okay, but I would have preferred the barracks being used instead. This is okay, but using the factory to build reactors for you is much, much better because your money gets lower, you have more units out there, and so on. 2-2 does begin, but already in this game, I'm starting to kind of summarize what's going wrong for you is tightness of the build order. And build order more than anything else, actually. So I'm going to keep that in mind as this game goes on here. I want to bring up your email, actually, for a second. Because you actually bring up something in the email that I wanted to discuss. And because this is coming into the time where you need to start harassing. So you said, I don't know when to be aggressive. When to expand and where to drop. So when to expand is normal. You've just got that. Your fourth base is going to be taken a lot later on. I'll show that in the game. Or not a lot later on, but a little bit later on. I don't know when to be aggressive. Throughout Terran vs. Zerg, you're always aggressive with small units. So if you opened up with a regular build, you would have had Hellions from the get-go, right? You could have had Stim faster, so you could have pushed out with Hellions and Stim if you didn't lose Hellions, dying creep spread, and just kind of keeping on top of the game a little bit. And that's kind of the little harassment that you do in the early stages. There's nothing big, but as you take a third base, you have to now start to elevate that as you starport finishes, right? So you starport finishes as you're taking third base in a normal game, and you get medivacs. And this is where drops start to come in. Ultimately, the timing window, if we put it like this, the timing window for you to do damage is from the very get-go, from small damage, and it escalates up. It does increase up, right? So small damage here with Hellions and Marines and so on, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger with medivacs coming in, and then a big timing push, which is stop. And that timing push is when your 2/2 upgrades are done. So in this window, which I've kind of created here, this is when you do your damage. Starting small, getting larger, and your ultimate goal here is to slow the Zerg player down for when you get to this point on my right hand, when 2/2 is done, and maybe +1 for your tanks as well, where you go in and go, BAM! There's your big timing. As you take a 4th base, as you add new production, as you get ready to go into the later stages. Because even if you don't kill him at this point, you're looking to do maximum amounts of damage because you've slowed him down through aggression. So that timing window is very, very important and something to think about up there. So, that's kind of addressing what you said on, when to expand, where to drop. Your expansion timing for your 3rd is okay, could be tighter as mentioned. When to micro, macro, that's always. There isn't really a time when you don't do either. It's always, always, always. Your production for this part of the game is low. Like I mentioned, you already should have had an extra barracks. You supply blocked a little bit, which hurts. And just simple mistakes are coming out from you now, which is, again, tightening yourself up. For example, you could be adding on 4, 5 more barracks at this point. Your lack of scan, doesn't help you whether he's going roaches or not, because if you look at his vision, you don't know if it is Roach Hydra, if it is Ling Muta, if it's Ling Infesta, and so on and so on. And this supply block just really, really hurts you. And you're already fallen much further behind than you need to be. This is my right hand. Ready? This is this. This is this. So this is your timing. This is your big timing, and with +1 attack as well, which you didn't get. This is where you go. This is where you go hard, and you just win the game. A lot of the times, actually, you do. You scout the spire. Your turrets come in. Unfortunately, no turrets on the 3rd. And from here on out, you just start to crumble. And I do, again, put it much down to your build rather than anything else. I mean, of course, macro mistakes are here. Invisible starports being late. You build 2 starports of 1. Still on 4 barracks at 15 minutes in the game. And this is where you need to be at 10 barracks or so, because your timing's coming, and you have to be attacking on this. This is the best opportunity for you to do maximum damage. And if you don't hit this, then you fall into the trap. You actually fall into this game. I was going to bring it up, but it happens anyway. Is that you just die to Hive Tech units, Vipers, the new Ultralisks. You let him catch up in upgrades because you were in the lead. Broodlords, whatever. You've missed your timing. You haven't dropped at all. You haven't stopped creep spread at all. And this is where it's all fallen down. So hopefully you've been able to follow me, Marcus, in this game. And what ends up happening is, because of all the things I've mentioned, you do finally move out. It's not really a specific timing. What are you really moving out for? I think it's because you've just hit 200 supply. It's not because you've hit upgrades because you're halfway through 3-3. It's not because you know what he's doing, or maybe you do now, but it's a little bit too late for seeing the Ultras Cavern. And very simply, you move out, and this is the end of the game. Even though there's 10 more minutes, it's the end of the game. Through these mistakes, because you move out, he finds you, even with your Muta Mines borrowed, he kills you. With all your army, and if you look at the units lost tab, it's not too bad for you, but watch it now. I'm sure it changes. Actually, it doesn't change that much at all, but it's still not good for you. You've lost your army. You have 4 barracks, 2 starports, and 2 factories, which is incredibly low for the 18-minute mark. Your money's super high because of it, and from here on out, Marcus, the game just ends. Because you can't play from this position. So what I actually want to recommend for you is a game from MLG that's just happened. This MLG Winter Championship that happened, and I want to bring it up for you. So here's your email once again, and now here's a game. Flash versus Ret, Game 1 from the round of 16 at MLG Dallas. I'll send the link. It's actually for everyone that's watching as well. The link will be in the description. For you, Marcus, it's going to be in an email and in the description, however you want to find it. Check this game out and just watch Flash's build, because what will end up happening is you'll see his build and you'll be like, oh, okay. And it just gives you a different perspective because he doesn't open Blue Flame. He opens with tighter, production, faster 1/1 upgrades, and then this is very much so emphasized with his play. He starts off with, Marine Hellions, and it gets bigger with drops. Bam, 2-2 finish. And that's what you need to ultimately look at in how to harass, how to play around with a Zerg player. So definitely go check this game, watch it very closely, get a paper and pen, because it will be a lot easier for you to forget what Rhett's doing. Don't look at the game for entertainment. Look at it for everything Flash does, the time he does it, copy it, do it yourself, and then I think you're going to change. Your Terran vs. Zerg will just go, boo, and I think you'll win a lot. So that's how I think you should approach Terran versus Zerg, Marcus. And that's kind of drawing us towards the end of this video. So do that. I hope you've enjoyed all the feedback of all the different things throughout your game as well, and that you can improve and keep on going. And thank you once again for sending in the email, your replay, and I hope that I've helped you and also helped a lot of other Terran players thanks to your game here, Marcus. And I hope that everyone else has had fun learning a bit of Terran vs. Zerg today. And remember to keep on sending in replays and emails and everything to me at improvewithapollo@gmail.com. I'll try and check out as many as I can. I'm doing these videos almost daily, every other day or so. And make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel where you'll get all the... I've never actually subscribed to a channel before. Or at least not used it efficiently. I think you just get an email, when I put a video live. It comes in your sub box. I've heard that said somewhere on YouTube as well. Whatever, it tells you when I put a video live so you can come and watch it. So thanks guys for watching. This has been Apollo with episode number 14 of Improve with Apollo. I'll see you in episode number 15.